Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Peeps and Poops. I'm your host, Rainer, the dog trainer, and we've got I've got the giant schnauzer going. We're getting ready for, I'm going to be one of the apostles in the Oasis Church Easter performance. So, and Baxter's going to be one of the he's going to be one of the children in a family that's witnessing the miracles in the miracle scene. So tune in on Easter to the Oasis Church online performance, and we'll see you there. And we have Mr. Yoshi, who's in the back, just kind of hanging with, that's a pink furry chair. Anyway, so today's ramble is going to be about, there was a comment in the comments on the YouTube channel, which I don't read the comments. I'm not going to read all the comments. However, this one, it was on the video that said, the video designated, or dog toys number 2, dog toys part 2, which I thought was really good, and it was about dog toys, and it was, you know, designated dog toys. It's good to know. And somebody put in the comments, what if my dog poops on a dog toy and eats it? And it's like, oh gosh, you know, but anyway. And I thought, and then I was like, well, if your dog eats its poop, that's a real deal, you know, because that happens. And that's a good question. So we're going to take that like snide comment, and we're going to turn it into a question. What if my dog eats its poop? Okay. And this one is interesting. Okay. I'm serious about this, and it's not me that knows this. This is actually because of, John Flanagan doing his thing down south with Kaya and Brentwood and doing all those people, and the people that were his, you know, mentors were just amazing on a whole nother level. And I was part of the conversation, and I've seen this, right? So the reason your dog eats its poop is because your dog is hiding the poop. Honey, did you hear that? The reason the dog is eating the poop is because the dog is hiding the poop. What is Rainer talking about? Rainer, right? Okay, so this is the scenario. Let's say you have a dog owner. He's got his dog. The dog stays at home, has his cushion, has his toys, has a dog door. The dog mully-gullies around, goes outside into the yard, comes into the house, and the dog drops a deuce in the middle of the living room floor. Okay? Now, let's just say the dog dropped that deuce because it sniffed around and it smelled remnants of prior deuce, right? And it smelled like some poop stain or whatever, some urine or some other dog poop thing that was in the carpet. And the dog's like, oh, I'm playing around. Okay, I'm here by myself, and I got to go to the bathroom. I smell that smell, and bing, this is where I go to the bathroom. Dog drops a deuce, happens to be in the middle of the living room floor. Dog continues to run around, goes out the doggy door, runs around, you know, comes back in, and the dog's like, owner is coming home soon. Cool. So the dog, you walk in and you're like 10 hours of work, traffic, the whole thing. You're like, hi dog, what's with the deuce in the middle of the living room? Right? You're exhausted, and you're like, I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, don't take a poop in the house, right? So you grab the dog, and you're like, bad dog. And this is where, like, you know, the correction, you know, you can't overcorrect a dog. You have to catch the dog in the act. So you grab the dog. Let's just say some guy grabs the dog. Bad dog, look at the poop. Look at the poop. Maybe rubs his nose in it a little bit. See that? That's the poop. Drags the dog through the house, out the sliding door. Go in the backyard. That's where I want you to poop. Okay? So that's the owner, like, I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, why did you poop in the living room? Okay? But what the dog experienced was, here's the owner. He came in, he saw the poop, he went crazy. He like scared the crap out of me, drugged me, threw me outside. I'm separated from my owner. It's like the dog is thinking, my owner really doesn't like poop. Okay? The dog doesn't understand that you don't want the dog to poop in the living room. The dog just thinks, here comes my owner. He's crazy. Oh, smash my face in the poop, yelling, throw me outside, separate him. My owner really does not like poop, right? So here we come the next day. Dog's mully-gullying around, sleeping on its cushion, chewing its toys, in and out of the yard, right? And the dog needs to go poo, and it smells the remnants of poo in the carpet and drops a deuce in the middle of the carpet. The smell of poo is in the carpet. You didn't clean it up enough to get that smell out of there. So the dog is triggering on the smell. And then the dog continues to go about his day, right? And then the dog's like, oh, the dog can kind of sense about what time the owner is going to come home. So then the dog is like, my owner is ready to come home. There's a poo. My owner really does not like poo. Oh, do something nice for my owner. Hide the poo, because things are bad when the owner sees the poo. So the dog, he doesn't have hands and paper towels, and the dog eats the poo. Okay, and I'm serious about this. This was a tricky one for these guys to figure out, but I know this one, so bear with me. So your dog eats the poo because the dog is hiding the poo from you, because the owner, in the dog's mind, the owner hates poo. So then the owner comes home, right? And the dog's like, and it's like, oh, good boy, what'd you do? You must have pooed outside. No. The dog pooed. That's me being a dog sniffing the remnants of the poo and pee in the carpet. The dog smells that, goes there, right? So this is what you do. Clean the carpet really well. Clean all the poop smell, because that's what's triggering the dog to pee and poo in the house. Then, if there's a poo in the house, you take the poo and you put the poo out where you want the dog to poo, which is going to be out the doggy door and on the side and over in the dirt. Put the poo there. You pick up the poo, the dog doesn't know where you want it. So you got to have the poo out there where you want the dog to poo. And then bring the dog out, show the dog the poo, peeps and poops, peeps and poops, peeps and poops. I shouldn't say this around Yoshi. He might drop a deuce in the car. But no, he won't. But anyways, okay, so it's all positive, and bad behavior is ignored. Good behavior is rewarded. And this is a tricky one. This is actually kind of, I'm being serious, and it's kind of a cool one to talk about, because this happens and people can't wrap their heads around it, right? So you put the peeps and poops, if it's on a, and this goes for like pee pads and people that bring puppies, and there's pee and there's poo on a pee pad, take that and put it out in the yard where you want the dog to go. Bring the dog outside, peeps and poops, peeps and poops, peeps and poops. It's like, they hear that as, they don't know the words, they hear it as a command that they can recognize, and they get it, right? Clean up everything really well in the house. Then what's going to happen is the dog is like, I got to go to the bathroom. I don't smell anything in the house. Oh, okay, wait a minute. They run out in the yard, they find the smell, and they go out in the yard. Guess what? And you come home, everything's cool, everything's good. But if you continue to have all that smell in the carpet, and this is where I go poo, and then you continue to punish the dog or correct the dog about the poo that's in the living room after the fact, the only way that you can correct a dog when it's dropping a deuce in the living room, right, is you see the dog pooing, and this is the way I do it. I go like this. And I make this sound, right? Which means the world changes, and now it's the sound of And you pick up the dog, and you're carrying the dog out of the living room, through the hall, through the kitchen, sliding glass door, out into the yard where the poos are, right? And you're going, and the dog's like, what is going on with Rainer? All the way until he's where the poos are, and you're like, peeps and poops, peeps and poops, peeps and poops. And the dog usually, it's weird because this is just the way I do it, right? Because you're picking up the dog, or you're walking the dog by the collar, and poos are coming out the dog, boom, boom, along the way. But you're catching the dog in the act. You're not overcorrecting the dog or scaring the dog. You're just, I want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention. All the way out into the yard. There's other peeps and poops here. This is the smell. This is where I want you to do this. Peeps and poops. Peeps and poops. Peeps and poops. Good peeps and poops. Good peeps and poops. That's a reasonable correction. I didn't overcorrect the dog, right? I didn't scare the dog. I didn't freak out the dog. I caught the dog in the act, right? Which is rare. I mean, catching the dog in the act is difficult. It's better to just clean up all the peep and poop smell, put the pee and poo smell out there. And when you come home, and if there's a deuce in the living room, I'm not going to say the damage is done, but you didn't catch the dog in the act. So you can't drag the dog in and do some like thing with the poo there. The dog is keen on the smell. So I don't know if I explained this very well, or you know, if I'm articulating this, but this was one of the most interesting ones. So when I saw that comment, I thought, okay, cool, let's talk about that today. So anyways, that's the scoop, and thank you guys very much for watching. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay. Poof.